Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. All right, so it is Friday afternoon, finally freaking Friday. It is the weekend upon us, and is it a 3 day weekend? I think a 3 day weekend, yeah, just for my birthday. And you guys, you shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. You guys got me the best birthday present ever. We are over 40,000 subscribers. I can't believe it. It's the perfect gift. Thank you guys so much. Program note for tonight. Rio, you'll remember the Washington football fan ambassador who was here for Sunday's games. He is hosting a roundtable with freaking Bad Dog, Philly 500, and myself. And we're going to simulcast it here on our channel so that way you guys can see what's going on. We're going to be taking the temperature of everybody in the NFC East and see how the other teams are feeling and see if they get their feelings hurt. For our Dallas Cowboys, we actually have some good news. We have 3 players that there's some concern about yesterday. Randy Gregory with his knee, and Randy Gregory was talking about, of course, being a little older and needing to put a little WD-40 on his knees. I'll be honest with you, I've been spraying WD-40 on my knees, hoping that it would help. And my wife is like, "You smell kind of like oil or something, chemical. What is wrong with you?" I was like, "Hey, I was trying what Randy Gregory said, using WD-40 on my knees." And she looked at me like, "Are you crazy or just plain stupid?" I said, "Both." I'm both. I'm used to be crazy Mark. So he is supposedly okay. Zeke Elliott also dealing with a knee injury as well, or a sore knee, is okay. And Amari Cooper dealing with a hamstring. All 3 of those guys made it through practice yesterday and should be good to go for the final practice of this week as we get ready for the New York Stinking Giants. So that is the great news that basically, we are pretty much at full strength with everybody that's on there. Keanu Neal and Bradley and I are both back on the defense as well. And the thing that was interesting, I had a conversation earlier, and I'll go into this more later on, with Brother Roz, because I was trying to find out, because the Dallas Cowboys have right now, and there's no, it may not hold, it may actually get better, it may change. At the moment, the Cowboys have 4 players that are scheduled to make over 1,000 yards. Zeke Elliott, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper. And I was going back through history, and there's teams that have had 3 wide receivers that have gotten over 1,000. And there's teams that have had 2 running backs that get over 1,000. But never has there been a team, as far as I can find out, that's had 2 running backs go over 1,000 yards and 2 receivers go over 1,000 yards. The closest thing that I could find was the 2004 Colts that had Edgerrin James rush for 1,000 yards and then have 3 receivers catch for 1,000 yards. So it could be that the Cowboys make some history. And we got into a discussion about how I felt good about the Cowboys. The thing that I feel best about the Cowboys is because they have more depth than they've had in the past. Before we get 1 or 2 injuries, our season is derailed. But thus far this season, we've lost Lyle Collins for 3 games. We lost Zach Martin for a game. Those things right there, you've lost a starting offensive lineman for each game this season. And we haven't skipped a beat. We've lost, DeMarcus Lawrence now for 3 games. And, we've lost Randy Gregory. Defense hasn't skipped a beat without having their starting defensive ends. We've lost Donovan Wilson for 3 games. And our safety play has been better than we've had in years. And so I was saying to him that because we seem to have depth and that we'll be getting these guys back, the guys that we've lost, and of course getting back like Neville Gallimore, getting Michael Gallup back, getting Lyle Collins, and eventually DeMarcus Lawrence, that the Cowboys actually have depth and can weather some injuries more so now than they've ever been able to, which can bode well because now it's a 17-game season. Because let's face it, the NFL season is a war of attrition. Now, Jerry Jones, my buddy Jerry, Jerry who doesn't mince words, he said today, he kind of put this out. Let me make sure I say exactly the way he did. He was talking about Jaylon Smith. You remember Jerry Jones said 2 years ago that Jaylon Smith was a cornerstone piece of the Dallas Cowboys. A cornerstone piece of the Dallas Cowboys. And I believe he meant that. Today, he went on, praising him as well, but he kind of dropped a bit of a bomb on here. Jerry Jones on 105.3 The Fan, on former Cowboy linebacker Jaylon Smith, who actually has his first practice today with Green Bay. He's such a warrior. He really was what you think about when you think of somebody overcoming adversity. And you can't deny that. From what he went through to where he was. That drop foot he had, listen here, this is where it gets interesting. That drop foot he had, and it still plagues him to this day, was mind over matter in my mind. Well, so Jerry Jones spilled the beans that foot never truly healed. It's been my contention all along that it hasn't, because Jaylon Smith, listen, from a fantasy football perspective, the amount of tackles that he would get is unbelievable. But you could see that he couldn't step into tackles. He became a liability in pass coverage because he couldn't plant the foot and step off of it. Because see, here's the thing, drop foot. That knee injury was so catastrophic, it wasn't just the knee. It was nerve damage. So nerves may have been severed. I'm not a doctor, so don't quote me. But the nerve damage became to the point where there was no control over the foot. This is drop foot. This is your foot, and it just drops. There's no, you can't raise it on your own. That's drop foot. That's what he had. That first year where he was starting, he had a brace for drop foot. And basically the brace is, it's like a spring. So when you extend off of the foot, it pulls it back up. So you can push off. That was his foot. And so the problem for him was, if I have to try and get my head across the body so I can wrap up, he couldn't. This is why you would see so many tackles that he's grabbing at legs and being dragged forward. This is why when you would see a lot of times he'd make contact and it's kind of like he's bouncing off or being carried down the field because he was literally playing on one leg. And when he had to plant and change directions, it just was never completely healed. And this is what most people suspected all along, and part of the reason why he wasn't as effective. And unfortunately, it's sad because he had ability, he had it up in the head, but you've got to be able to have your body follow along. And this, of course, is the cream of the crop when you're talking about the NFL. This is the best of the best. This is that 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the football players in the world. You can't have anything that's slowing you down whatsoever to be able to make it on that field. I hope that foot heals the rest of the way and that Jaylon Smith, does well in Green Bay. But Jerry Jones kind of let it out the bag that, he never fully recovered. So I hope to see you guys tonight at 7:30 for our roundtable. We'll be doing our regular 9 o'clock live stream afterwards. Depending on how long that goes, we might just roll it right into it. Who knows? But we'll see what we have on there. I'll be bitch slapping my son, Philly 500. And I still have to deal with that idiot cop pistol. Yeah. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later.